So the point is, we can watch Fauci lie to Congress, and Rand Paul can have the evidence in a document that says the NIH funded gain-of-function research. Nothing will happen.
Lies.
The point.
Sat there and lied.
Yep.
James Clapper lied to Congress.
That's right.
Those Hillary Clinton emails were
That's
so
right.
insane. The Sidney Blumenthal stuff in Libya, so insane with
We
Osprey
came,
Global
we saw
Solutions.
he died.
I mean, just, it was so corrupt. But I mean, the Federal Reserve
You
is
might
so
ask
corrupt.
yourself
It's so
why I'm not
obvious.
ahead.
But what? It's so obvious if you look at it. But if you don't look at it, it's not obvious. And people they look past it when they see it. They don't understand it, so they don't even see it. I don't know what's going on.
I gotta be honest. I don't think we lived in a republic since 1913.
No, we definitely have not. These people, they're getting bribed like, I mean, it's not a legitimate republic. There are people there representing, but they're getting bribed.
Remember when Lindsey Graham, I think it was, goes out, he's complaining about the election and stuff, and he goes out and he fist bumps Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
That treated you hard.
It's all nonsense.
Well,
tax the
listen.
rich means confiscate private property. All the communists believe they're going to be the commissars. They're all just stupid.
I got no problem with a right-wing politician walking up to a left-wing politician and giving them a fist bump. I got a problem with them grandstanding on TV pretending like they're morally opposed and behind the closed doors they're back on your back. I have a problem with people claiming to be fighting for something and they don't actually fight for it. You know what one of the problems is right now? Mark Milley should be court-martialed. Hands down. Al Vindman, of all people, I think he tweeted this out. I don't know where he posted it. I think it was a tweet where he said that if this is true, Mark Milley usurped civilian authority and by breaking the chain of command. The New York Times reported on this on January 8th with an update on the 13th that Nancy Pelosi...
Well, look, there's a few pieces of data missing. Maybe Trump told Milley we're not going to attack China. Maybe he told him that.
But that's not what happened.
But maybe he knew that.
But the issue is, the reporting is that it was a secret call outside of chain of command, and that Mark Milley convened a secret meeting at the Pentagon instructing senior officers to essentially defy legal orders from Donald Trump.
What, on the nuclear strike thing?
Yes, after a call from Nancy Pelosi. Now, what happened was the New York Times reported on January 8th.
Can we define something very quickly,
Yes.
though? Look, I am not a Mark Milley fan. I am a Donald Trump supporter. I hate Nancy Pelosi. I'm on the right side, but I have questions. My first question is what is the actual exact nuclear launch protocol?
What does that have to do with this?
Because does the president just say, launch the nukes, and then some guy in a silo turns the key? Or does it have to go from the president to the Joint Chiefs down the chain of command?
What does it have to do with?
Because as far as I read the text specifically, Milley said, if we're talking about a nuclear strike, I have to be part of it or something like that, right? Which reinforced the chain of command. So what he thought was the chain of command. What is the actual chain of command? If Trump says launch the nukes, what is the actual literal next step? Does he give the order to the Joint Chiefs? And then the guy that turns the key has to take the order from the Joint Chiefs, or does he have to take it from the president? This is a very important, crucial distinction.
Let me break this stuff down for you. The Hill reported, the forthcoming book says Milley conducted secret meetings at the Pentagon after January 6th.
Secret from whom?
To ensure former President Trump could not launch a military attack.
Secret from the public, secret from Trump.
From Trump.
To ensure that Trump could not launch an
A
attack.
military attack.
So specific. Look, I'm a Trump guy. I'm not a Milley guy. I just want to have the facts so we can argue the right things. And so he specifically said, if Donald Trump says attack,
You come to me, look me in the eyes right now, and swear an oath you will come to me with this. When Trump gives a lawful order to an officer, and then he says, no, you come to me instead.
I'm not in the military. I have no idea how this works. Is an enlisted guy supposed to take an order direct from the president, or does an enlisted guy have to take an order from his commanding officer?
You got to stop because I was about to address this
Okay.
before you jumped in.
Okay.
The New York Times reported that when Pelosi contacted Mark Milley saying she was concerned about Donald Trump launching a military strike, that it seems Mark Milley offered no consideration to this request. And the Department of Defense, several Department of Defense officials were angered by this, saying that if they actually did plan on circumventing the chain of command, it would be a military coup. Vindman said, if this report is correct, that Milley usurped civilian authority, breaking the chain of command. I am not saying it is my opinion this happened. I'm saying New York Times reported, DOD official said, if they sought to break the chain of command, it would be a military coup.
Right.
When
If they
he had
sought
a
to break the
meeting-
chain of command, but we haven't defined what the chain of command is yet.
Vindman said it was.
But Vindman said that the president can give the enlisted guy an order that
Vindman said-
that all of the commanding officers disagree with, and the enlisted guy has to do it.
I don't, Jack, I think your questions are completely irrelevant.
Well, I think that you're supposed to only
If-
answer to your immediate officer, your immediate superior, and then if another greater superior comes over and tells you something, you're like, sorry, man, this is my
None of this is relevant to my point.
That's what
None of this is
Cooper told
relevant
me.
to my point. My point was that, according to the New York Times, when they initially reported this, they said Pelosi tried to make it happen. It didn't happen. And so I reported that as Pelosi attempts military coup against Trump. And I said, I'm not going to mince words. If the New York Times reporting Department of Defense officials said what Nancy Pelosi attempted to get them to do would have been a military coup, that's what I'm going to say happened.
Yes.
And a lot of people on the left were angry by it. No, that didn't happen. She was just trying to stop a crazy man from starting a war. And I'm like, I don't care. The New York Times reported this. And I'm not going to give my opinion. I'm going to state what the New York Times reported. Vindman says that this report, and you don't have to trust Vindman. I'm just making the point that you have many people coming out right now, even people on the left, saying this broke the chain of command. He gave information to an adversary without conferring with the president. That seems like a big problem to me. Treason? No, we're not declared enemies of China. We actually have, a ton of agreements with them. We're not at war, although we literally are at war. We're not.
Well, they're at war. They're at war with us.
We're at war with them. We are.
Well, they're at war with us. They're waging war on us.
And
Not
and
technically.
the point is, we didn't declare war against them, so it's just an off-the-books conflict, I guess you can call it. But they've been attacking our critical infrastructure for a long, long time. So anyway, the point is, Milley, according to the reports, had a secret phone call with the Chinese military, telling them outright, all of our posturing, all of our ships going through China, we're not going to attack you.
That's actually makes me think that we have way better ties with the Chinese government than it seems. That we're really safe and that there's not going to be any physical conflict.
China recently had a strike group go into the Alaskan Economic Zone, and look, when China says we will,
Or right up next to the economic zone. I don't think they want to do it.
when China says we will take Taiwan, when China's actively sinking fishing boats in the South China Sea claiming control over it, when they're illegally building military bases on the atolls, and the U.S. can only saber rattle. And then, the best we have is saber rattling. Mark Milley, in October, before the election even happened, calls them and says, don't worry, we're not going to attack you. And if we are going to, I will give you advanced warning.
Is this not? And again, I'm not a Milley fan. I'm a Trump supporter. I believe China's waging war on us, etc. I just want to know the facts. If we're conducting a military exercise, do we not notify our adversaries in advance that we're conducting a military exercise?
Wait. Are you asking that if we're going to fire a missile on our enemy and declare war, we would warn them first?
An exercise.
But that's not what we're talking about. He said, so you need to understand what's been going on all last year. China has been actively pushing on the Pacific in many ways that are considered illegal. Sinking fishing boats, for instance, has been a huge red flag for U.S. and their allies. So the U.S. deploys destroyers into the South China Sea, challenging China's claims over the territory. China's trying to put enough pressure on the U.S. to get us to back down so they can eventually declare sovereignty over the area. One of the things stopping them was that China was scared if they kept pressing, the U.S. would attack. So Mark Milley is reported in the full report in the Washington Post, in the book, they specifically state, because China was concerned that the U.S. would be prepared to attack them, Mark Milley called them in October of 2020 to warn them not to worry, we will not attack you, everything is fine. And in the event we will launch an attack, I will call you and warn you first. That was him pledging to an adversary in the event war were to break out, he would side with them. He would give them warning of our military plans.
Yes, I understand
and by
that.
stating that we will not attack you, he completely undermined everything the U.S. had been doing in the Pacific to stop China's encroachment in the Pacific. When China was scared we were going to attack, I'm not saying war is good. No, it's bad. But if China was like, hey, the U.S. might attack us, you think that's a deterrent?
Right.
So he undermined that completely,
Right.
going outside of the chain of command to do so.
Right.
Secretly contacting the Chinese military to inform them. And he said, as you mentioned, Ian, in the past, when he said that China's not our enemy, China's been conducting cyber warfare against us for forever.
They're very clearly waging war on us. There's no question about it. I'll tell you my number one source. And look, again, I'm just trying to figure out what the facts are right here. And I'm not an expert. Look, I know a lot of stuff about a lot of things, but I'm not an expert on Chinese incursions into the South China Sea. Okay, I can admit that. The source of my skepticism is the fact that this was reported in a Bob Woodward book. Okay,
Yeah.
and just if it would
Millie confirmed it.
fine. But if it came out last year and it was about Trump and it was about Bob Woodward, everyone on our side, or my side at least, would be like, that Bob Woodward is an idiot and a liar.
Yes, but he confirmed it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he said it was.
Fair
It
enough.
was. He said it was acceptable and routine, and we
So
regularly.
maybe it is acceptable and routine.
Then why? So the issue, I suppose, then is when you've done something that's so shocking. Once again, you see everyone on the right saying this is shocking if true, that even people on the left are coming out. Like, that's why I cited Vindman specifically.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to claim that he's an expert and authority on this. I'm saying he's the guy who tried to get Trump impeached, or who did get Trump impeached,
Yeah.
now coming out and being like, this broke the chain of command.
But aren't there also other incidences where like we've attacked people, and I think this is pretty common. Where like we're gonna launch a missile on this base.
like with Trump in Syria?
You should move some people out of there. We don't want to kill a bunch of people. We just want to blow up a bunch of equipment. We're launching this missile. Missile's coming. I mean, notifying our adversaries in advance of the military attack is not unprecedented.
Not in the age of limited war. That's
I think the
whole point.
issue is that he went around Donald.
Okay, that's fine. Again, I'm
Let me
asking
read
questions.
something for you.
I can feel the comments.
This is New York Times. New York Times, January 8th, with an update on January 13th. They mentioned Speaker Pelosi of California took the unprecedented step of asking the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff about available precautions to prevent Trump from initiating military action abroad or using his sole authority to launch nuclear weapons in the last days of his term. So apparently has sole authority to launch nuclear weapons, I guess. General Milley appears to have made no commitments. That's what they said in January. We now know that he did. In fact, had a secret meeting at the Pentagon where he according to the book, and again, you don't got to believe Woodward, he asked these officers to effectively swear an oath to him that if Trump gave him an order, they'd go to him with it first.
Okay, that's the question I want to know. That's the question I want to know.
So let me read.
Can the
Yes,
president?
I understand the question. Let me read. Milley made no commitments. Mrs. Pelosi's request, which she announced in the Democratic caucus as an effort to prevent an unhinged president from using the nuclear codes, was wrapped in the politics of seeking a second impeachment of Trump. Colonel David Butler, a spokesman for General Milley, confirmed the phone call with the speaker had taken place, but described it as information. He answered her questions regarding the process of nuclear command authority. But some Defense Department officials clearly resented being asked to act outside of the legal authority of the 25th Amendment and saw it as more evidence of a broken political system. They said that some political leaders were trying to get the Pentagon to do the work of Congress and cabinet secretaries, who have legal options to remove a president. Mr. Trump, they noted, is still the commander-in-chief. Unless he is removed, the military is bound to follow his lawful orders. While military officials can refuse to carry out orders they view as illegal or slow the process by sending those orders for careful legal review, they cannot remove the president from the chain of command. That would amount to a military coup, the officials said. Okay, that being said, if Vin is correct in saying that this broke chain of command, if there was another retired colonel on Fox News who said outright this was an illegal action by Milley, if true, he should be brought into Congress, put under oath, and testifies to what happened. We have people, left, right, military, coming out and saying this was a subversive action against the United States. Treason, we're not at war with China formally, in which case I don't think it counts as treason. Court-martialable, I'm not in the military. I wouldn't know if it goes against the military code or anything like that. But I certainly think that Mark Milley has acted beyond reproach. The secret meeting at the Pentagon. Now, this one's not confirmed. What is confirmed is that Milley has admitted to this phone call with China on more than one occasion, in October and on January 8th. The claim from the left in mainstream media is that he was just trying to stop an unhinged president he believed was in mental decline following an insurrection attempt. Except he made the first call in October. according to the reporting, well before an election took place. So imagine Donald Trump was been very, very bullish on, going up against China. Imagine he won the election. He had already been undermined by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, who went behind his back to contact China. And that's admitted. Now, he said, it's routine. I talk to the militaries of all these other countries all the time. But there's a lot of people in the military that not true. Okay, so here's the way I see it. Fine. Maybe it's not treason. Maybe it's not court-martialable. How about the people who are requesting an investigation and an inquiry into this one get it, and we get to the bottom of it, and then we determine whether or not he brought senior officers into the Pentagon to tell them that if Trump gives you an order, you bring it to me.
We still, in that article, didn't get a clear delineation of what the nuclear command structure is.
Well, I suppose they pointed out its sole authority of the president.
But what is the
nuclear
chain
weapons.
of command? Does the president go to the key turner directly, or does it have to go down the line? That's an important distinction. Look,
Well, so let's put it this way.
We spent so much time parsing text when it came to Trump and watching the left take things that Trump said that were specifically accurate, but then expanding it into being genuinely inaccurate. And I just don't want us to do that. I just want us to be specific and and justified in our critiques.
So the ultimate question is, can Donald Trump get on the phone to, they don't use NORAD anymore, I guess, but can he get on the phone to a commander at a military base with nuclear capabilities and say, launch the nukes?
Yeah.
I believe the answer is yes.
I believe the answer is yes.
You don't think Trump,
My instinct. I have no other basis.
Trump is the one with the nuclear football? Who else would be able to do it?
I don't know. It seems to me that in something that could end the world, that we would want it to go down the chain from one officer to the commanding.
I think the Democrats tried to make that happen. Actually, they tried to take Biden's sole authority for the nuclear launch codes away and give it to somebody, give it to more than just him. I think it's him. Now, I understand the question is down the chain of command. I would be surprised if Trump could not call, strategic defense, a commander, a captain, a major, a general, or whatever, who has the ability to turn the key and say, this is President Donald Trump calling on the red phone. He could, I'm sure you have to call a general, I suppose, but he doesn't have to call Milley, right? Yeah. So if Milley, as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, now here's the important part. As chairman of the Joint Chiefs, he's not active in the military. He's an advisor. So it's semantic, but my understanding based on the reporting is that as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, he acts as the senior military advisor to the president and doesn't make the decisions himself, which means Trump would not go to him to execute the decisions.
Gotcha.
He would go to the senior officers, the generals, and say, do it. For him to come out and be like, no, you come to me instead. I don't know, man. Calling China at a time when we're facing Thucydides' trap sounds to me like providing aid to the enemy.
Yeah. No,
We're not at
I'm
war
with you on
them,
that.
We're not at war. How about we go to Super Chats?
Let's do it. Maybe there'll be a general in the Super Chats who can explain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and so we got a ton of Super Chats because we all said so many things that we weren't clear on, and people are going to provide for us those clarifications.
So here, Google says the United States has a two-man rule in place at nuclear launch facilities, and while only the president can order the release of nuclear weapons, the order must be verified by the Secretary of Defense to be an authentic order given by the president. There is a hierarchy, et cetera, et cetera.
And it's not Mark Milley.
It's not Mark Milley. Yeah.
So he
It has
had
to
a
be
secret meeting.
It has to be verified by the SecDef, and it not have to be verified by the Joint Chiefs, according to a preliminary.
Oh, of course.
I never grew accustomed to the air up here. It gusts senselessly whichever way it pleases. I suppose you must prefer it.
You're right. The air up here seems pretty good so far. But I will reserve judgment till I've had my fill. I have to say, though, Father, the Helm of Darkness...
It should not have had to come to this. For all your antics with me yet around the house, I always...
Well, let's see. You've berated me repeatedly and often. You've lied to me, mustered your wretched forces to kill me over and over, but sure, I'll grant you that you've always kept most of your anger bottled up.
We're gods, boy. Killing one another is our lot. Although I always thought I was above it. I told you that you cannot leave this place. It seems I must enforce.
No, you're going home, not me.
I suppose that you must hate the very sight of me. You'll understand then why I wear the Helm of Darkness. You dare lash out against me like this, boy. Darkness.
Not yet.
You cannot death. Go home.
Got you.
To have been brought this low by my own ungrateful child, I would have. Enough of this. I send you home now with nothing to show for it.
Damn you, Father. Father's not back yet, huh?
A moment, lad. I saw your father storm out of the house in his regalia. So he must have confronted you himself at last.
Well, at least I know who will be waiting for me the next time I climb all the way to the Temple of Styx and manage my way out.
Don't lose heart, lad. I did not train your father, only you. He is a god, but he is just a god.
Just a god.
House rules, lad.
Where'd Orpheus
You
go?
are back. Your father is not here, and you are back.
Yes, I think so, Nyx. Returning here by Father's hand does put a special sting into it, though. So, any invaluable tips on how to vanquish him? Some.
You know his weaknesses better than anyone. Better even than he. It pains me to know that the conflict between you cannot.
I would.
But that was then and this is now, and we have work to do.
You're interrupting private conversation.
No, let him stay if that's what he wants. What does it matter?
This is not here. Could maybe use some rest. Grateful for your help, Lady Artemis. I can get stronger.